What if I told you that a long, long time ago, one single battle decided what Europe would look like today? Not just one country, but many countries, cultures, and even the way people live. And the wildest part? It all came down to one big moment where everything could have gone wrong. Let me tell you this story like a movie. Back in the 1600s, there was a super powerful empire called the Ottoman Empire. Think of it like a giant team that had already won many games. They were strong, smart, and had a huge army. Their land stretched across 3 continents: Asia, Africa, and parts of Europe. They were growing bigger and bigger. And now, they had their eyes set on one very important place. A city called Vienna. Now, Vienna wasn't just any city. Imagine it like a giant gate. If someone captured Vienna, they could easily move into the rest of Europe. It was like the front door to a whole region. So when the Ottoman army decided to attack Vienna, it was a really big deal. In 1683, a massive Ottoman army around 150,000 soldiers marched toward the city and surrounded it. Inside Vienna? Only about 15,000 defenders. That's like 10 kids trying to stop 100 kids in a game. Not fair at all. The people inside the city were scared. They knew they didn't have enough soldiers. They didn't have enough food. And the enemy wasn't just waiting outside, they were trying to break in. The Ottoman army began digging tunnels under the city walls. Their plan was to explode parts of the wall and rush inside. Day by day, things got worse. The wall started cracking. Food started running out. People were tired and afraid. It felt like the end was near. But then something surprising happened. Usually, countries in Europe didn't trust each other. They fought a lot. They argued. They didn't work together. But this time was different. They realized that if Vienna fell, they might all be in danger next. So they made a big decision. They decided to team up. And leading this team was a brave king named John III Sobieski from Poland. Now, Sobieski wasn't just any king, he was known for being smart, brave, and a great leader in battle. He gathered soldiers from different places: Poland, Austria, and German lands. Think of it like different teams in a game finally joining forces to fight one giant opponent. They started marching toward Vienna to save the city. But there was a problem. Time. They didn't have much of it. Back in Vienna, things were getting worse every single day. The Ottoman army was getting closer to breaking through. If the help didn't arrive in time, the city would fall before the rescue army even got there. It was a race. A race between rescue and disaster. Finally, on September 12, 1683, the moment arrived. The rescue army reached Vienna. Early in the morning, they stood on hills just outside the city. On one side was the huge Ottoman army, confident after months of attacking. On the other side was the Allied army, smaller but ready to fight. This was it. The battle began. There was shouting everywhere. Cannons fired loudly. Smoke filled the air. Soldiers clashed with swords and weapons. It was loud, confusing, and intense. At first, the battle moved slowly. The Allied army pushed forward little by little. But then something started to change. The Ottoman army had been focused on attacking the city for months. They didn't expect a strong army to come from the outside. The Allied forces began gaining ground. And then came the most important moment in the entire battle. King Sobieski made a bold decision. A risky one. He ordered a massive cavalry charge. Now, cavalry means soldiers riding horses, but these were not normal soldiers. These were the famous winged hussars from Poland. They were special. They wore shiny armor. They rode fast, powerful horses. And on their backs, they had large wooden wings. Yes, actual wings. When they rode fast, those wings made a loud, strange sound. It was like a rushing wind mixed with a whistle. Imagine standing on a battlefield and hearing thousands of horses running toward you along with this scary, echoing sound. It would feel terrifying. Then it happened. Thousands of winged hussars charged down the hill at full speed. The ground shook. The noise grew louder and louder. It was like thunder rolling toward the enemy. The Ottoman soldiers saw this coming and they weren't ready for it. They had been winning for months. They thought victory was already theirs. But now, everything changed. The cavalry crashed into their lines. It was powerful. It was fast. And it broke their defenses. Once that happened, something very important took place. The Ottoman army began to panic. And when a big army panics, things fall apart quickly. Soldiers started running. Commands got confused. The strong, organized army turned into chaos. Within just a few hours, the entire situation flipped. What looked like a sure victory for the Ottomans turned into a sudden defeat. They retreated. Vienna was saved. The city that was almost lost survived. But here's the thing, this wasn't just about one city. This battle changed history. Before this moment, the Ottoman Empire was growing and moving deeper into Europe. After this battle, that stopped. Completely. This was the turning point. From this moment on, the Ottoman Empire slowly stopped expanding into Europe. And Europe got something very important. Time. Time to grow. Time to become stronger. Time to develop into what we now know today. Think about it. If Vienna had fallen, the map of Europe might look very different right now. Different countries. Different cultures. Different languages. Maybe even different traditions. All because of one battle. And here's the most amazing part. The people fighting that day didn't know they were changing the future. They weren't thinking, we're making history. They were thinking, we need to survive. We need to protect our homes. We need to save this city. But their actions went far beyond that moment. Their courage, their teamwork, their decisions echoed across hundreds of years. One battle. One charge. One moment that changed everything. And remember that story I told you at the beginning? That everything came down to one moment? This was it. If that cavalry charge had failed. If help had arrived just a little bit later. If the city had fallen. The world today might look completely different. That's how powerful history can be. If you enjoyed this story and want more amazing real-life moments explained in a fun and simple way, stick around. And if you learned something new today, don't forget to like the video because history isn't boring, it's full of unbelievable turning points just like this one.